Okay, so I'm going to be going over the best battery charger so far that I found for the Sony action cameras. This also applies to any camera by Sony that uses the NP-BX1 battery. I was looking for a while trying to figure out, a good charger or something to use for it. I really didn't like only having one battery, and two, I didn't like having the charger, area on the camera. Charging through the camera, of course, does work, but when you're out in the field or you're, on the ski slopes or out doing action stuff, obviously you can't just stop and then plug the camera in and wait. Well, I guess you could, but that sucks. So the best option to have is extra batteries, so then that way you can keep shooting and charge other batteries while you're out, collecting footage and everything. So I took a look on Amazon. There's a lot of different chargers out right now for the Sony cameras, some super cheap looking ones, cool ones with little digital LCDs and whatnot. I didn't really like some of the designs. I don't like the really ultra universal, comes with 900 different adapter battery chargers. Yes, they do work. I don't like having all the pieces. I end up losing them. And I found sometimes they don't work quite as well, or they stop charging too soon or too late. I also wanted to make sure I found a battery charger that could run off of either, plugged in at home or in the car using a USB cable without having to use a power inverter. So I came down, there's two options. The first one I don't have here because I didn't get it. Has a digital LCD and it had a fancy, percentage readout and everything. Really doesn't matter to me, actually. I like knowing that, okay, the battery's at 75%, but it doesn't really matter because when the battery gets low in the camera, I swap it out, throw it on the charger. When it's done, I use it, and throw it back on the camera again. So I narrowed it down to the Vivitar dual charger. Now this does utilize a USB plug-in on the back for micro USB, so that way I can charge it at home with the common cable that comes with Android or most other electronics now, or I can use it in the car with a car charger that is meant to use or charge for pretty much any Android phone. So I picked that up on Amazon. I had no idea the size of this thing, so I had to kind of order it and find out. So let's go ahead through an unbox and see what's in here. So like I said, I did go with the Vivitar dual battery charger. It looked like the best, most compact one. Vivitar isn't maybe the best name out there, but it also isn't bad either. I'd much rather use Vivitar since I've heard of them rather than some random no-name brand, especially when it comes to charging lithium batteries. So let's take a look here. Apparently I'm capable of opening a box. So let's see here. So looks pretty simple. Put the box aside. Comes with instructions. Plug it in. It works. Thanks. Does come with a USB cable. Now you've probably got about 40,000 of these at home now. I know I have a ton of them, but they are nice to have so that way in case you lose one or you keep a couple extra, at work, in your backpack, in a car, that kind of thing. Now the first thing I did notice with this Vivitar charger is that it is a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. When you're looking at pictures online, it's really hard to tell exactly how big something is, but the charger is actually pretty small and compact. I compare it next to the camera here just so that way it gives you a good idea of the dimensions and everything, but it really is nice and compact. Okay, let's move on to the battery portion of this. Now, the batteries, I did see some on Amazon that did look better. They look more professional on the battery and everything itself. However, I don't really think it's too important because, one, the batteries are super cheap. You can get like 2 packs of these for like 12 to 15 bucks, I think, shipped. So if these ones really suck, obviously I'll order different ones, but otherwise, a lot of these batteries are probably coming from the same place anyway, just rebranded a little bit differently. So let's take a look at that. Now for this, the batteries for the Sony cameras are pretty small, in specific the NP-BX1. So the box obviously is pretty small, comes wrapped up in some bubble wrap and everything. So simple battery, just says, for Sony camera basically, NP-BX1. Don't burn it or stab it or eat it, cool. So not bad. Now the kit that I ordered did come with 2 of these. it's nice to have, you know, more than one extra basically, especially with some of the cameras and everything. When you're out shooting 4K and it's running the stabilization, you're really only getting 45 minutes to an hour and 15, which really is not too much time when you're out in the field trying to frame shots, taking a couple shots. You leave it, you know, running on accident and that sort of thing. So I will take a look here at the factory Sony OEM battery. You can buy one of these from Best Buy or Amazon for like 30 bucks. That's lame. Or you can buy like 3 of these for 30 bucks or less. When you look at the batteries side by side, the Sony does seem to have a slightly higher you know, quality when it comes to the build itself. But overall, I mean, they look pretty darn similar. It really might just be the outside, you know, on the Sony, the silver, that makes it look a little bit nicer. Obviously the big thing, as long as the camera turns on, that's what we're really looking for here. So the charger itself, batteries pop in there super easily and lay nice and flat. Now I did see another charger that the batteries sit vertically. However, I saw some reviews saying that because it does sit vertically, there's nothing that holds it in on the sides, and so then the contacts don't make a connection, and then the battery either stops charging or it will charge, stop charge, and I don't really want to deal with that. So I figure something that lays flat like that, where the battery slides in and snaps into place, would be the best bet. So let's plug it in and see how it looks. Okay, so I've got the charger plugged into the wall here. I am using a 5 volt 2 amp power source. The charger port is on the top there. I did see one review where they were complaining, you know, as far as like, oh, it doesn't seem like it's, you know, as good or something like that. I don't know, I'm not going to be too rough with it, but they did specify they opened it up and glued in there and it was fine. So let's take a look, see what happens here. So when you first plug it in, looks like you do get 2 green power lights, which is nice. That way you know if it's actually plugged in or not. Some of the other chargers, I know if you don't plug it in, you can still put a battery in there and it causes it to light up, which causes confusion because then you think the battery's charging and it's really just sitting there, you know, on the charger. So batteries pop in, nice and easy. This one I did have charging on here, so it doesn't show up like that. Sony one, however, I did pull out of the camera, and looks like that one was actually charged as well. Okay, so now I've tried, this is going to be my 3rd time. I used this for a couple of minutes with the battery, hoping we can get enough of a voltage drop on here to actually get the battery charger to register. So again, charger is super easy to use, channel 1, channel 2, and the lights correspond on there to let you know which is which. So you pop the battery in and you get a nice red light letting you know it is charged. Obviously, if you use a power source that is not 2 amps or more, then the batteries are not going to charge as quickly. But otherwise, it does specify on here, which is very nice, that regardless of you know, 1 battery or 2, they will both charge at the same speed. Okay, so on here we can see that when you have 1 battery plugged in, charges at 730 milliamps, and if you have 2, they both charge at 730 milliamps. Now that's how much power is going into the battery. A lot of the dual chargers don't work very well, and the fact that when you have 1 battery, it will charge faster than if you are using 2 batteries, which really sucks, especially when you're trying to get multiple batteries charged. So otherwise, the charger itself and the batteries seem really good so far. Obviously, the biggest thing is, will the camera turn on? So let's go ahead and find that out. Snap that cover closed. There we go. And test. See if it will turn on. And looks like we got a happy little beep from the Sony. And it does register, and it does even register that the battery is fully charged. So, which is good because the charger did claim that this battery was fully charged. So it looks like we're off to a good start here. So end of the day, right now I've had the Vivitar dual charger for the Sony NP-BX1 batteries for about a week now, and I've charged probably 3 or 4 times with it on both the Sony battery and on the aftermarket battery, and so far I've had no issues. So definitely give a thumbs up here. That's awkward. On the dual charger here.